Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Aurora Online Classes. Let's proceed with the same lesson and let's go ahead. I have told you in my previous class that hack driver was Lutkins himself, but he made the lawyer move round and round. This Lutkins was needed as a witness in a legal case, in a law case, and this lawyer had come to serve summons to him. So hack driver introduced himself as Bill and he took him from one place to another. In this way, this hack driver took the lawyer to many places, to several places. All right, Bill, shall we proceed to Fridge? Yes, Lutkins is just as likely to be there as anywhere, plays a lot of poker, he is good at deceiving people. He is criticizing Lutkins. Bill is criticizing Lutkins that he is not a trustworthy person. He deceives people, he cheats people. Bill seemed to admire Lutkins' talent for dishonesty. I felt that if he had been a policeman, he would have caught Lutkins respectfully and jailed him with regret. Bill led me into Fritz. Have you seen Oliver Lutkins around today? Friend of his looking for him, said Bill cheerily. Fritz looked at me, hiding behind Bill. He hesitated and then admitted, yes, he was here in little while ago. Guess he's gone over to Gustav's to get a shave. They came to means who came to? The lawyer. Bill took the lawyer to Fridge and Fridge told them that Lutkins was here a little while ago and now Lutkins has gone away from here. Lutkins has gone to Gustav's barber shop to get a shave for shaving. Well, if he comes in, tell him I am looking for him. Then the hack driver told, Bill told Bill told Fridge that tell Lutkins that I am searching for him if he comes back. We drove to Gustav's barber shop. Again, Bill went in first and I lingered at the door. He asked not only the Swede but two customers if they had seen Lutkins. The Swede had not. He said angrily, I haven't seen him and don't care to. But if you find him, you can just collect that $35 he owes me. One of the customers thought he had seen Lutkins walking down Main Street, the side of the hotel. As we climbed back into the hack, Bill concluded that since Lutkins had exhausted his credit at Gustav's, he had probably gone to Gray's for a shave. At Gray's barber shop, we missed Lutkins by 5 minutes. He had just left, probably for the pool room. At the pool room, it appeared that he had just bought a pack of cigarettes and gone out. So we pursued him, just behind him but never catching him for an hour till it was past 1 o'clock. I was hungry, but I had so enjoyed Bill's rough country opinions about his neighbors that I scarcely cared whether I found Lutkins or not. There was no trace of Lutkins. From the Gustav's, from the Fridge shop, they came to Gustav's shop, but they didn't find Gustav over there. They didn't find Lutkins there. So even Gustav told angrily that Lutkins had gone forever. He was here for a short while ago. Now he is not seen here. He has gone somewhere. So actually, it is clear that he misdirected him. This hack driver, this Bill, misdirected him from one place to another and making excuse about Lutkins here and there. So he took him to several places. He took him to several people, and several people saw this lawyer and saw this Bill, and now they were feeling hungry. So the lawyer was feeling hungry. How about something to eat? I suggested. Let's go to a restaurant. I'll buy you lunch. Well, I ought to go home to the wife. I don't care much for these restaurants. Only four of them and they all are bad. Tell you what we'll do. We'll get the wife to pack up a lunch for us. She won't charge you more than half a dollar. And it would cost you more for a greasy meal in a restaurant. And we'll go up to the Weds Hill and enjoy the view while we eat. Now, the narrator was feeling hungry, so he suggested the hack driver Bill to go to some restaurant to have lunch. Then Bill told him that it is better to go to his home. It is better to go to his home because it will be cheaper than a restaurant. Because it will be cheaper than a restaurant, because there you will have to pay, even you will have to pay at my uh, at my home you will have to pay even less than a dollar, even half than a dollar. So you can get your lunch for even half, even less than a half, even less than half a dollar. And it is better to have lunch at my wife's house, not at the restaurant, because taking lunch at my home will be less expensive. It won't be costly. So in this way, actually, this Lutkins was very clever. Actually, it took, we'll go up to the Wets Hill and then enjoy the view while we eat. Why was he saying like that? Because if he takes, means if hack driver takes the lawyer to his home, isn't it? He would make money, because he will not provide lunch to the lawyer free of cost. So in this way he will make money. Number two, it will take 1 hour, it will take nearly 1 hour to reach there. So in this way he will charge more dollars for fare. I know that Bill's helpfulness to the young fellow from the city was not entirely a matter of brotherly love. I was paying him for his time. In the end, I paid him for 6 hours, including the lunch hour, at what was then a very high price. But he was no more dishonest than I. I charged the whole thing to the firm, but it would have worth paying him myself to have his presence. His cheerful country wisdom was very refreshing to a country boy like myself, who was sick of the city. As we sat on the hilltop looking over the pastures and creek which slipped among the trees, he talked about the New Million and painted a picture in the words of all the people in it. He noticed everything, but no matter how much he might laugh at people, he also understood and forgave their foolishness. He described the minister's wife who sang the loudest in church when he was most in debt. He commented on the boys who came back from the college in fancy clothes. He told about the lawyer whose wife could never succeed in getting him to put on both a collar and a tie on the same day. He met them all live. On that day, I came to know New Million better than I did the city, and to live it better. Bill did not know about colleges and cities, but he had traveled around a lot of the country and had had a lot of jobs. From his adventures, he had brought back a philosophy of simplicity and laughter. He has strengthened me. We left that peaceful scene of meadows and woods and resumed our search of Oliver Lutkins. We could not find him. At last, Bill cornered a friend of Lutkins and made him admit what he guessed. Oliver's gone out to the mother's farm, 3 miles north. We drove out there, lying plans. I know Oliver's mother sees the terror. Bill sighed. I took a trunk out there for once, and she almost took my skin off because I didn't treat it like a box of eggs. She's about 9 feet tall and 4 feet thick and quick as a cat, and she sure can talk, I'll bet. Oliver heard that somebody's chasing him and he's gone on there to hide behind his mother's skirts. Well, we'll try her, but you'd better let me do it, boy. You may be great at literature and law, but you haven't had the real training in swearing. We drove into a poor farmyard. We were faced by an enormous and cheerful and old woman. My guide bravely went up to her and said, Remember me, I am Bill Magnuson, the carter and hackman. I want to find your son Oliver. I don't know anything about Oliver, and I don't want to see shouted. Now look here, we have had just we have had just about enough nonsense. This young man represents the court in the city. We have a legal right to search all properties for this Oliver Lutkins. Will made me sound very important, and the woman was impressed. She retired into the kitchen. We followed. She seized an iron from the old-fashioned stove and marched on us, shouting, "You search all you want to, if you don't mind getting burnt first." She shouted and laughed at our frightened retreat. "Let's get out of here. She'll murder us." Bill whispered. "Outside," he said. "Did you see her smile?" She was laughing at us. I agreed that it was pretty disrespectful treatment. We did, however, search the house, since it was only one story high. We went up round in, peering in all the windows. We examined the barn and the stable. We were reasonably certain that Lutkins was not there. It was nearly time for me to catch the afternoon train. Bill drove me to the station. On the way to the city, I worried very little over my failure to find Lutkins. I was too busy thinking about Bill Magnusson. Really, I considered returning to New Mullen to practice law if I had found Bill so deep and richly human. Might I not grow to love Fritz and Gustav and 100 other slow-spoken, simple, wise neighbors? I pictured an honest and happy life beyond the strict limits of universities and law firms. I was excited. I had found a treasure. I had discovered a new way of life. But if I did not think much about Lutkins, the office did. I found them all upset. Next morning, the case was coming up in the court. They had to have Lutkins. I was shameful, unless fool. That morning, my promising legal career almost came to an end before it had begun. The chief almost murdered me. He hinted that I might do well at the digging ditches. I was ordered back to New Mullen. With me went a man who had worked with Lutkins. I was rather sorry because it would prevent my loafing all over again with Bill. When the train arrived at New Mullen, Bill was on the station platform near his cart. Strangely enough, that the old tigress, Lutkins' mother, was there, talking and laughing with Bill, not quarreling at all. From the train steps, I pointed Bill out of my companion and said, "There's a fine fellow, a real man. I have spent a day with him. He helped you hunt for Oliver Lutkins." "Yes, he helped me a lot. He must have. His Lutkins himself." What really hurt me was that when I served the summons, Lutkins and his mother laughed at me as though I were a bright boy of 7. With loving kindness, they begged me to go with them to a neighbor's house for a cup of coffee. I told them about you, and they are anxious to look at you, said Lutkins joyfully. "They are about the only folks in the town that missed seeing you yesterday." Dear students, actually, now he he drove him from one place to another. Now finally they had a lunch, and then they went to a hilltop. They sat there, and the hack driver told everything about the village people, about the meadows, about the scenery, and about everything. So he told lots of things about the people, about his neighbor, about the minister's wife. So he told the lawyer about lots of things. And then both of them came to Lutkins' mother's farmhouse. Lutkins' mother was a very fierce lady. Bill went to Lutkins' mother and said, "I am Bill and I want your son." Lutkins' mother was so fierce, she got angry, and she was really a very terrible lady. And even the lawyer was with Bill. So she went inside the house, she went into the kitchen and brought an iron from the stove, and she shouted at the lawyer and Bill, "Don't try to touch anything, and don't dare enter my house. I don't know anything about Lutkins. Lutkins has gone out of here, and don't make a search in my house. Otherwise you will get burnt. I'll hit you. I'll get you burnt with this iron. This iron, I have taken it from this stove, and you will get burnt with this iron." Now it was a very so the narrator got scared of such a terrible behavior from Lutkin's mother, and Bill suggested the narrator to go away from here, and if you don't go away from here, she will murder us. Now both of them came back. He was getting late and he came back to the town, and this Bill drove him to the station. And when he reached there next day, this Lutkins was needed in the case, but when chief came to know that he had not traced out, he had not this narrator, this lawyer had not traced out Lutkins, he was very angry with the lawyer. He said, "You are really a useless fellow." He scolded the chief, his boss, means the lawyer's boss, scolded him very badly and told him, "You have to go back to the New Mulin once again with one man. I am giving you one man from my side, and this man will go with you to New Mulin, because this man has worked with New Mulin. This man has worked with Oliver Lutkins, so he can better recognize him, he can better understand him." So this time round, both of them went back to New Mulin. Now the lawyer went there in search of Oliver Lutkins with a man, and once this man had walked with Oliver Lutkins, so he could easily recognize him. So both of them got down at the station, and from there, Bill was also at the station. He has parked, he was there with his mother, and his horse cart, his hack was also standing beside him, and both of them were, Bill and his mother, both of them were talking and laughing. They were not quarreling there. Then this lawyer pointed towards Lutkin. See, he is Bill. He is a very nice fellow. He helped me a lot in searching, in finding Lutkins. He is a very good fellow, very cheerful, very friendly one. Then this man told him, "Are you sure this is Bill?" No, this is not Bill. I have worked with him. His friend said, the man who went with him, he said, "No, he is not Bill. He is Lutkins himself, and he has made you a fool." So both of them went there. He served summons. The lawyer served summons on Lutkins and told that you are needed in the court next day. And both of them laughed. The mother, actually the hack driver, the Bill, Bill means the hack driver. Actually the hack driver, Bill, was Lutkins himself, and he befooled the lawyer. He made the lawyer a big fool. And now they took the lawyer and this companion to a neighbor's house for a cup of coffee, with a claim that the people of that particular area had not seen you, so they want to see you. This is what the hack driver Bill, Oliver Lutkins, told him. So now the lawyer served summons to him. At last we can say, now the story comes to an end, and we can say that this lawyer was not an intelligent lawyer. He was gullible, and he could easily be flattened. He could easily be flattened up. He could easily be flattered, isn't it? Actually, Oliver Lutkins made him a fool, made this lawyer a fool. He misdirected him, because Lutkins was really a very crafty, very cunning fellow, very clever fellow. So with this, the story comes to an end. Thank you very much, dear. This is all for today, and the story is over. Thank you very much.